It's lovely to be here, and it really is nice to be in person with
Das ist mir klar.
friends been on the journey with me through the Kellycaster. It's lovely to see everyone here tonight and some new faces as well. It's really, really lovely to be here with you all. Little round of applause for Hugh and Rob and Deborah, who's putting all this technical stuff together. Amazing. Yeah. Just so you know, this is my QR code to my access pack, which is something that's been new in development. But my access pack will take you to this presentation. It takes you to the lyrics of my songs. It takes you to an audio description of the band. We usually do a social media story so that people know when they come to the venue what to expect when they get there, where things are, where the toilets are, very, very important, things like that, where the bar is, which is also very, very important. So my access pack, and that goes, and that's live all the time, so you can see the lyrics, and this PowerPoint I'm going to share with you this evening is also in there. So that's to aid access as well. And it's just like I've been trying to learn how to take what I've learned in theatre and bring it to the music world, because the music world needs to catch up big time. I still go to so many gigs where non-disabled artists aren't even thinking about accessibility for their audience, and they're missing out drastically. So we need a radical change, and this is all part of my journey to say, well, you know, I can do this on a shoestring. I can do this with, you know, a small amount of money. And actually, I was really lucky that with the Arts Council, I got some funding to explore how to do this even more. So with resources, the world is our lobster, and we can do it. So in the next 20 minutes or so, I said 5 hours, Rob, didn't I? Got a 5-hour session. Is everybody up for that? Brought your sleeping bags? 5-hour session. I'm going to chat a little bit about the Kellycaster. I don't know how many of you know about the Kellycaster, but I wanted to freshen it up a bit, talk about other things as well. There's like a purpose to the Kellycaster, which isn't really about the Kellycaster. And I thought it might be nice to dig under that a little bit. So a bit about the Kellycaster, a bit about my journey over the last sort of 3 or 4 years. The Kellycaster developed really about 6 years ago, 7 years ago. And there were some people in the room. I don't know, Dave is Dave here yet? Dave Tosh? Yeah, Dave was later. Yeah, he was with us, and like a guitar player, and going, right, so how'd you do that then? How'd you do that at 6 strings? But the journey has been amazing since we got it going. It was in the newspapers within a week of us getting some noise out of it. I remember we did it at a hack meet at the South Bank, and we got some sound out, and within 20 minutes I was playing 3 chords, which is all you need to be, for me, being a punk, but you know, that sort of thing. But the journey since has been, I've been blown away, and I'm very, very fortunate, and I'm very, very lucky to have this journey. I thought we'd do a song or two, maybe. Yeah, little demo, yeah, here and there. But it's chit chat. You can ask me questions, feel free to sort of bed down. I might forget a few things, I might get things wrong, which I always do. So just feel free to, like, there'll be a chance at the end to ask questions, but if I'm not making sense, just go, whoa, back, and I will stop and do it that way. But yes, this picture, I'll try and audio describe the best I can as I go along. So this picture is of us at the Manchester Folk Festival, which is really where my solo career was launched about 3 years ago. I decided I'd done some lovely work with Graeae Theatre Company, Extraordinary Bodies, and Drake Music, and some brilliant disabled-led organisations. I thought it was about time for me to wheel out there and give my own songs a bit of a go. So this was like the launch of that sort of bit of my journey. And Dave down here is helping with the guitar. He's sitting there with the guitar, and Helen, and Gary, and Paula. So that's the band. Yeah, let's play a song, eh? So this song isn't off the I've recorded an album, which was, I'll tell you about that journey in a little while, but this song, I worked with an amazing songwriter called Ted Barnes, who, my songs are pretty rough. they are 3 chords and very like that. So now I'm going to play one of my gentler songs. I've had a bit of a cold, so I thought, oh, let's play something gentle and nice and lovely-dovey donuts. So if you want to hold hands with the person next to you, just feel free to do that. But you don't have to. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to get a guitar on. Sorry, might have to move there. No photography during this set, please. In case I get it wrong on my phone. So, points right. Yeah. So I'm going to audio describe myself very quickly. I'm a white Irish male with black hair going grey. I always wear sleeveless cut-off T-shirts because I hate sleeves. I move around quite a lot, so you hear clunks and clicks from the electric wheelchair. My guitar is on me right now, and just to sort of run through that a little bit, the hardware, I've got too many computers tonight, haven't I really? Johnny 2 computers tonight, which is nice. One's running the PowerPoint, and the other one is running the Kellycaster, which I'll unpack a little bit after the song. But the guitar is like, it's a bit bigger than a ukulele. It eats a ukulele. That's what the Kellycaster does. But it's, got 6 strings, and it's got a little silver bar where I rest my arm over. I've got an Ovation Launchpad keyboard here. And I have various settings and various setups. And tonight is unplugged, basically. I don't know how you do that, DMLab, unplugged, but I'm unplugged. So, so at the moment, I've got a little signal on my screen to say that the screen strings are all there. Here it is. I'm going to start with just like a little bit of acoustic guitar. So I've got lots of different plugins that cost far too much money to make it sound all beautiful. But actually, that was really important to me. I'm a professional musician. I don't want it to sound rubbish. Even if I'm a rubbish guitar player, which I am, I'm not Jimi Hendrix or anything like that. I'm still learning how to play the guitar. I'm not the best guitar player, but I know what sounds good, and I wanted the Kellycaster to have that beautiful aesthetic of a guitar. It's really important to me. So anyway, so here's a song that I wrote, Ted wrote it, and I took it on tour with Extraordinary Bodies as part of the Waiting tour, and I got to play this every night for a long time, but with a big band. And tonight, I'm naked all on my own. Way beyond this, up in the clouds, I'm caught in a world I don't understand. All I can see are crowds all around, staring at the space where I used to be. I'm not the one that I used to know. You take my hand and you push the key. I say goodbye. I say goodbye to my part of the dream. Crashing back down, no turning round. I'm tearing apart what I used to know. I'm not alone like I used to be. take my hand and you push the key. I say goodbye, I say goodbye to my part of the town. Taking it off just to conserve the energy, the power, the strength. So let's just grab this little pointer. I'm going to whip through these slides. I'm not really going to spend too long, but maybe just explain a little bit about the Kellycaster. Talked about the guitar. The guitar was made by a luthier by the name of John Dickinson. I spent a long time with him in his shop in just the other side of Croydon. Beautiful bit of maple wood. And like John was saying, the aesthetic of it, the feel of it was really, really important. I come from the 70s where things for disabled people was made out of hard bits of rotten metal and painted in that NHS blue. And so it was, you know, there was no aesthetic to stuff. And so for me, in this century, we need to up the game a bit. Things need to look good, to feel good, have a style, have a presence. And so that was really important to me. The hardware, you know, I wanted a physical guitar, 6 strings, and I'll explain a little bit about the software that goes behind it. I work with Charles Matthews. But the ethos really is the attitude behind the guitar. There was a guitar singer-songwriter that influenced me majorly called Woody Guthrie, who most of you know, who sang songs that were important. They were songs that were important, that were in our hearts. They're about the things that we experience, the things that we feel, and the things that we know to be wrong. And Woody Guthrie used his songs to write about the things that were wrong. And lots of songwriters are in that tradition. So the Kellycaster wasn't really about killing fascism, but it was about killing discrimination against disabled people. So that was kind of the ethos of it. And actually, that's kind of what my guitar's about. And it resonated with me with what you said about the low-tech kind of emphasis on how we develop stuff. This picture that's up here now is basically how my house is built, with blue tack and gaffer tape and clamps and ties and sharp knives. And what you can't see under the text is there is a ballpoint pen. And ballpoint pens are bloody brilliant because you can take the tops off and you can take the bit out and you can do things. And they're really good for straws if you've run out of straws as well. So there's a little tip. See, I'm educational and entertaining. Thank you very much. So this is where the Kellycaster started. And the actual guitar is here tonight. It's like a journey. And here it is, look. And that was where we started, with all these wires and things dangling down. And the biro, we put on a nunchucker, a Nintendo nunchuck, to do the chord changes. And then we kind of worked on it from that point. But what we knew was we wanted each of the 6 strings to have its own little pickup, so it could read the tension and the strength and that kind of stuff. And that's how it started, with 6 leads. And then Bella, we're not sponsored by Bella tonight, but we should be, because my Kellycaster works off a Bella platform as well. It's just an immensely fast audio interface, and it really, really works. And what's beautiful about it is it's web-based as well. So Charles, who now lives in Canada, I hope you're listening, Charles, because you're in my heart tonight as I share this. But when it goes wrong or something happens, I need something, I'll share a little picture in a while where I was playing outside and my hands were cold. And I realised that my strength as I go down the strings wasn't hard enough at the top. And I was playing outside in front of about 5,000 people. It was really scary. Fireworks was about to go off. And I thought, I can't let these fireworks down without me playing my chords. So he worked on a little patch within about half an hour so that I could get the strength of the strings calibrated to fit me playing outside. It was just amazing. So, yeah. So the important things, these were our goals, and they still sort of stand today, really. It behaves and sounds like a guitar. It needed to, I'm Irish, and all I want to really do is sit in a bar and play songs and sing with people and join in with other musicians. So I want to be able to jam. I don't want to be locked in to a song that I've programmed. So that was kind of part of it. It was just that beauty of just being able to, what chord's that? What key's that in? And play with other musicians. It needed to be responsive and reliable and robust. I play in front of an audience, and they're not going to wait and hang around for me. If I don't play when I'm meant to play, they'll walk off. They'll go away and go and see someone who's better than me. So I need to hold them there and capture them. So it needed to be robust and reliable and all those sorts of things that we know as technologists are really scary things. It had to be built collaboratively. I come from the school which is about, I spent my life being done to, people deciding what I was going to be or how I was going to be or how things are done so that John can do it. And I think it's time we break that model and we do things together, collaboratively as equals. And that's really, really important. And I found in the music world that music therapy is a big model in the music world. It's an experience that many disabled people have. And I'm not knocking it. There's a place for it, a really important place for it. But actually, there ain't much going on for a punk who just wants to F and blind in front of an audience. And I needed that finding. So we needed to break that model. So building collaboratively was really, really important. I've talked about looking and feeling good. That's guitar, not me. It's all right me looking a bit knackered. That's fine. But it needs to play expressively. I wanted it to feel, those moments we just had. I hope you felt some of those moments and the expressiveness of it so that I'm not all screamy. I'm not all shouty. I can do things that are really gentle and delicate. So that was really important. This is the interface. So this is about as geeky as I'm going to get tonight, folks. It's a Max for Live plugin. Works off Ableton. We designed the interface together. Watch this, you're going to like this. Look at this zoom, look, I did that. Woo! Took me ages to bloody learn that one. But basically, this is the Max for Life patch. And it hasn't really changed. That's a 2017 picture. And it's exactly what I've got on my screen here. We haven't really changed it a lot. So the original design has stayed really, really well. Watch for the red arrows flying in. Yes, indeed. So the first red arrow points out the chords. So I can write a bespoke chord, which is really important when you're working with Ted, who doesn't read music. I don't read music. And he makes up his chord shapes. And I go, that's not a standard G, or that's not an E minor. What is it? He goes, I don't know. I just put that finger there and there. But with this, I can make a bespoke chord and play what Ted wants me to play for the show. Phew. And then what happens is we take all those chords for the song, and there I've got a bank of 10 chords. I could bank that up and put it on another row of 10, so we have 20 chords, but I ain't jazz. So 4 or 5 chords is fine for me. And then what happens is I load those songs up, and then I put them into a songbook. And there's the title of that one, We Don't Fit in a Box, is one of the songs. So, and I've got about 300 songs in my repertoire. So that's why we're having a 5-hour session tonight. And that's kind of how it works, really. And this is the bit, this little red arrow's popped up at the bottom there. That's where I calibrate. So I don't need to tune the guitar up at all. The strings are already pure data. So I don't need to tune up. But what I do need to do is sit there and make sure It's registering my sensitivity, how strong I am at night, the volumes, the way I want it to be. And that's kind of the software. And there's me sweating my face off in this very building when we launched the Kellycaster 6 years ago. And that's kind of the first sort of night it got played out there. Since then, I've done a lot of streaming. This slide says Bunk Off Early Friday, where I learned to stream. And these badges that are down in the corner are now collector's items. All the audience who joined me for a stream during Bunk Off Fridays. Bunk Off is like, you know, like when you used to get off school. And I nicked the wall from Grange Hill. So it was a real school theme. But basically, during lockdown was when I launched my solo career. Great time to launch it. So I needed to keep playing. So we streamed every Friday and literally ran out of songs. But it was just a brilliant, brilliant thing. And I learned a lot about the Kellycaster. I then went on tour from home. And this picture is me performing from home on a big screen. That's at the Lighthouse in Poole with Extraordinary Bodies. And there's a circus trapeze artist flying around in front of me. And I was playing the Kellycaster live in a show to a theatre audience from home. And that's what technology was just amazing for me as an artist, to be able to keep live. These two pictures, we've supported each other a lot. And I know there's a lot of people in this room who stayed in touch with me, and we kind of looked after each other during the pandemic because it was a really hard time. And even now, coming out of the lockdown, we still need to look after each other, and we still need that connection. And so doing this on hybrid is really, really important because some of us are still a bit wary about being out there and that. These two photos are just a big hats off to the disability arts community because the picture to the left is I was involved in Then Barbara Met Alan, which is a BBC programme. You can see it on Netflix now, which is about the disability movement. When I was young and I chained myself to a bus, and some young whippersnapper was playing me. But I was in there. You can see me in the background in the band. But that is all about the disability arts movement and the disability history political movement, which is part of the ethos of the Kellycaster, about that need for radical political change, which gives disabled people rights and not pity. And the other little one is a cartoon of me drawn by the brilliant artist Crippen. And this is one of my... I was just privileged to be drawn by Crippen, who's drawn all the big disabled artists that have been in my life. And to be drawn by him was a bit of a... I got a bit emotional about it. But anyway, this next clip, before I kind of... How long have I got? About 5 minutes? 10 minutes? 5 minutes. So this clip, I've got to do something different on this, haven't I? Because it's live sound, yeah. So we're going to, hopefully you'll see this. But this, one of the things I did, hold on a second, that's playing on them. Let me stop it again. Was one of the tests for the Kellycaster was to go live on national television to welcome the Paralympic team. And one of the tests for it was doing a sound check at 6 o'clock in the morning and leaving the Kellycaster till it went live on television at something like 6. And I wasn't allowed to touch or noodle or test the Kellycaster until I was live on television. Let's just say that from this shot, so this wasn't on telly, this is backstage scenes during the sound check. After this, I just stayed in the toilet for the next 12 hours. But anyway, so this was, and what we did with this as well is essentially the Kellycaster's a chord instrument. But we learned to write the individual notes so I could play the national anthem. I actually had to learn the Irish national anthem after this as well, because I'm Irish. And my dad was horrified that I could play the national anthem, but not the Irish one. So I had to go and learn that afterwards as well. It's a work in progress. But anyway, this is just like rocking out. And I kind of say, well, can we do that? Can we do this with the national anthem? I got into a bit of trouble, but rock and roll. Anyway, here it is. Hopefully you can hear it. that was live at Wembley in front of quite a big audience. Quite scary, but we loved it. And that was a real test for the Kellycaster because, yeah, it was technical. It obviously had to sound great. And I was working with in-ear monitors. I hate in-ear monitors because I don't know about anybody that uses that kind of technology, but my ears sweat and I can't reach my ears. So if they pop out, that is it. I've lost. So that was quite scary. But enough about my personal preferences. Anyway, so since then I've done an album, and that was a whole new thing. And a lot of what I'm talking about tonight is kind of well documented on my YouTube channel and on social media and stuff, so you can, the album's kind of out there and you can listen to it, you can download it. I'll show you the QR code so you can find where I am at the end. But one of the things I did with the album was I wanted it to be accessible to as a wider audience as possible. So instead of doing a lyric sheet, I got a graphics facilitator to draw each of my songs in picture form. Not everybody reads the written word, so I kind of did the album in terms of pictures. So if you buy the CD, you get that as a nice bit of artwork as well, and all the songs are there in pictorial form. So I'm going to quickly jump to my last couple of slides. We launched the album and we sold out the Purcell rooms thanks to Dav for buying 100 tickets and Tim for buying the other 100 tickets, and from Graeae and Drake coming to support me on that night. We sold out the Purcell rooms and got moved into the Queen Elizabeth Hall just the night before the Queen died. So that was kind of like, oh, and the show only got the go-ahead about 5 hours before I went on stage. It was that scary. So it's been lovely to be with you. I hope you've learned something about the Kellycaster. I'm now going to be touring this, which is John Kelly. It's not a TED Talk. I'm anti doing loads of talks without playing a few numbers. So from now on, if you book me, we're going to play gig as well, because there's too much talking about it and not enough action. So that's why we want to play. Get the music out there. And finding my QR code for you to stay in touch with me is here. Oh yeah, I can do QR codes now and everything, not just the Kellycaster. Oh yeah, QR codes. It's all there. And that will have all my latest gigs. My next gig is in The Hague, actually, in 2 weeks' time. And then we're in Poole, and we're in Bury, up in Manchester and Lancaster. So we're going all over the place. So the Kellycaster is all over the place, and I'd love you to come and chat with me, get in touch with me through that QR code. Thank you for having me.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, John. Really, really lovely to have you here in person and revisiting where you launched the Kellycast. It's amazing. Yeah. Questions? Yeah, I'm sure it's been very thought-provoking. Hopefully we've got quite a few. So yeah, gonna...
A couple of questions.
I hope they're not hard.
No. I think the last time I saw you, you were actually using that.
I was using that? Yeah.
Yeah, so sort of techie questions.
Yeah.
Are all the strings the same gauge?
No.
Oh, so they're high and low?
Yeah. They're heavy gauge. I am now, get this, I want a big ooh! I am now an Ernie Balls endorsed artist.
Oh, wow, cool.
So I've got a lifetime of strings from Ernie Balls, but they're heavy gauge. So I get the heaviest, I think it's like 50
but they're
something.
Like different.
Yeah.
Same as a.
And the tension does matter to how the strings
different.
read. So we do have to, every now and then, we don't have to do it all the time, but the tension has to be just adjusted so that the Bella then reads it
gets
spot on.
Yeah. And how do you do the chord changes?
So
secret.
Essentially, what I'll do, I'll get it back up on the screen because it's probably easier to do that as well. So once I've, sorry, just bear with me 1 second. Yeah, so once I've mapped out the song and the chords and stuff like that, you can sort of see the red, I'll go to the next one because it will actually be able to see it easier. The first chord is there. So that's then MIDI mapped. So the signal is pure data, and that's going into the Bella. And then I MIDI map each of those chords down here, and I'm doing chord changes on the Novation keyboard. And I'm doing loads on the keyboard, actually. I'm doing pedal changes. I'm doing volume changes. I'm doing all sorts. I'm doing a wah-wah pedal on here. I'm doing all sorts. I'm strumming. So my right hand is doing what you would do on your guitar, and my left hand is doing the chord changes and note changes. But I've MIDI mapped that already, and then I just, you know, jump 1 to 7 or 1 to 5 or whatever I want to do. I usually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then when I'm playing with a band, I can call it out jazz styly, 1, 3, 4, whatever, it works. Thank you.
Brilliant. I think we had another question just over here. Yep.
Varky. You are going to ask me a horrible, difficult.
I'm going to ask you the one we all want to know. Who's your agent? You got so many gigs. I want gigs.
Do you know? Like, as an artist, I always feel like I want to do more gigs because, like, I'm hungry all the time to gig. I haven't really got an agent. I'm really, really lucky that I kind of go on the last gig and then I get booked from that. So if anyone wants to book me tonight, that's great. But yeah, I haven't really got an agent. We worked with an agent for a little while, but I've got a really good team who support me. Claire Teasdale in the background who works with me. Shipshape Marketing helped me with my marketing and stuff like that. But we're pretty small as a little team. And yeah, one of the things that's really hard is breaking into venues that don't traditionally program disabled artists. That's really, really hard. So I'm trying to break some of that fear and worry and work with venues to build up a touring circuit. Because, sorry? I think they're probably shared. Because I'm scared, like in Bury, that no one's going to come and see me, But hopefully, I know I've sold 2 tickets now, so I'm a bit more relieved. And I'm not going to let the dogs in free. They're going to pay for a ticket as well. But so I've got fears because I'm going to places where some people will know me, but not a lot of people will know me. So I'm trying to break new audiences all the time, which all artists want to do. But also their fears of programming something a bit different, something a bit new. They're worried about getting access right. And I say, well, let's just do it together and let's learn together. Because access isn't like a static thing. Access isn't something that, my Kellycaster and my setup is always changing, depending on my body, the environment, my stage setup. If I'm on a raked setup, my set looks different to this. So, I'm working all the time with venues to say, don't worry about getting 100% right. Try and make change so that things become more and more natural. And that's kind of where it's at, I think. Is that helpful? Do you want to be my agent? Please. Anybody who does, talk to me afterwards.
Do we have any questions in the Zoom or any comments? No questions? All very much appreciated. Anyone else in the room before we have a quick break? Fantastic. Well, John, thank you again. Been really, really brilliant to have you in person. Big round of applause again, everyone.